Hey guys, welcome to Collider Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Ashley Mova, and this is the daily show. We give you all the latest news from the world of movies, plus some insight into what it all means. Leading off the show today is Denizen.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to another brand new episode of Collider Movie Talk. It feels like Friday, but it's Wednesday because of Thanksgiving. Just to let you guys know, we will not have Movie Talk tomorrow or Friday, but we have actually plenty of other videos going up. We still have our top 50 series. Episode of Heroes goes up later today. We also have Jedi Council tomorrow. And also we have someone on today's panel who has a birthday.
Yeah, birthday girl, Perri Nemiroff.
Oh, man. Hey, hi, guys. I'm actually really happy to be here on my birthday. I know it's like weird to say you want to be at work for your birthday, but thanks for making me want that to happen, guys.
We're going to eat your cake outside.
Yeah.
What
That's
do you
the
say,
only
Jon
reason
Schnepp?
I'm here, and that's the only reason you guys care is because I brought extra cake.
Jon Schnepp's going to eat the balloons.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
We're going to see if those balloons are edible. What's up, everybody? I'm going to be here for Thanksgiving, but don't forget my Kickstarter ends in 2 days. Get my comic book 5. It's over.
Ooh. And first story.
That's right. It's over.
The first story in a report from Forbes, as Justice League enters its second weekend in theaters, the outlet is reporting that due to its less than stellar opening weekend, the fifth movie in the DCEU stands to lose anywhere from $50 to $100 million. The number comes based on educated projections that include the film's $300 million production budget, as well as over $150 million in marketing costs. The film is the lowest U.S. opening in the DCEU, with $96 million in receipts, even after the film was projected to open between $110 and $120 million. Dennis, thoughts on the amount of money Justice League is projected to lose?
That's quite a lot of money. Up to $100 million. It depends on how well it does here, how well it does internationally. I know a lot of people are pointing to the international box office saying, like, that's the one that's going to save it. But, I mean, this movie costs so much to make with the production budgets, the reshoots, and also the marketing. Invest a lot of money. That it's going to be very tough. I mean, movie studios, even when they break even on movies, is considered a loss because they put so much effort. That's a slot they have in their studio, a lot of time and effort went into it. So even something breaking even is a loss. I just can't imagine, like, a year ago thinking that Justice League would open under $100 million and be something that WB would lose money on. Because even Batman v Superman didn't meet the expectations, but it still made money for WB. And I was thinking, like, man, I remember a long time ago when we were still with AMC, I had mentioned that I thought it might have been a little, I don't know, dangerous is the right word, but like, having Batman v Superman come before Justice League, the novelty of seeing Batman and Superman on screen together, you can only do that once. And if you do it for Batman v Superman, then Justice League, you don't have that anymore. And I don't know, that's not obviously the biggest contributor to why, but I mean, definitely didn't help. Perri?
Yeah, this report is a great read if you're into box office numbers, but it's important to point out that I think these projections came from an article on Forbes, and even the writer of the article admits that it's just an educated guess because we are only in its first weekend out, moving into its second weekend, so it's tough to predict exactly how much it's going to lose right now. But if you're interested in box office, I highly recommend reading this thing because he breaks down everything from what the movie is making right now all the way up to residuals, home video profits that they might make, and it's a really interesting thing to break down. I think one of the most interesting things, though, I see in this entire thing is there's a chart in it, and it's only a select 20 movies, and often they're all superhero movies, but they basically just selected a random 20 to show you what a very profitable movie makes, and just comparing the return on investments. And the movies that were towards the top of the list were the ones with the biggest ROIs, and they're the ones with the smaller production budgets. But then when you look at the very bottom of the list, I think something like 3 of the 5 are DC Extended Universe, or whatever we're calling it right now, movies, and they're all movies with production budgets north of $200. So
$200?
That's all it costs.
Yeah.
Mustache and all. $200 million. But the interesting thing about that is, you know, we're focused right now on what Justice League's intake might mean for this film franchise. It might mean something even bigger for superhero movies in general, or maybe just big budget filmmaking overall, because clearly they're not making as much of a profit as the thing that's on the top of this list is Deadpool. And Deadpool clearly was, I don't want to call it an anomaly, but it was a surprise how much money that made. But when you consider how much money that one cost compared to how much it made, it goes to show you're going to make a bigger profit if your movie costs something that isn't $300 million.
Right.
Schnepp.
Well, you got to double that cost, and then there's like the P&R and there's P&A. There's a lot of advertising costs. I mean, with this weekend, I was talking with Dennis on the car ride up here. We rode up here together, and I actually think this weekend, if you add up the entire Thanksgiving weekend, Justice League is going to make $100 million. That's my guess.
Whoa.
Yeah, everyone thinks I'm, saying 40, 70.
But you're talking about the 5-day weekend.
I'm talking about the 5-day weekend. But I think people are going to go see it. And I think why? Because they're actually doing their ad campaign finally right. They added Superman to the poster, like finally. So now there's a poster where you're like, so Superman's in this? It's like, a lot of people didn't see. I mean, it made a lot of money, but a lot of people didn't see Batman v Superman, so they might not have known that Superman's dead, and they're just like, why is he not in the movie? It's sort of, so it's nice to kind of see him on the poster finally, and maybe that'll like make people say, oh, he is in the movie. So, probably not, but I'm hoping, because I like the film. With mistakes and all, bad guys and all, story and all, I think it's a fun film. So, I hope it does make its money back.
That's what's so disappointing about this. And I know I said it was disappointing the last time we were talking about the box office haul, and there were a whole bunch of, like, why would you say it's disappointing if you didn't like it all that much? Like, no, I gave it a review and a score that would be just recommending it to people. And I do think it's an improvement. So when you see something that's an improvement and also something that gives you little bits about characters that you want to see more of, and then it disappoints to the point of maybe decimating a chance for down the line a Cyborg movie, things like that I think have a lot of potential. It's a bummer that this is how things are panning out. And even though I think your prediction is wrong, I wouldn't mind if it turned out to be right.
Yeah, you can still like a movie and be disappointed with it at the same time. But I just never thought a movie with Batman, Superman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, Flash making this little money. It must be heartbreaking for the people at WB. I do want to see this universe continue. I want to see what they do. I think what WB will do is concentrate on these solo films. We have Aquaman's going to be the next one. They're still talking about Flash,
Shazam. They're in production on Shazam.
And I think they'll still be interconnected, but just not to the degree that they currently are. I don't think they're going to force it anymore. I think it's just going to be more of like a throwaway thing. Like, okay. Ashley, did you see Justice League?
I didn't get to see it, and honestly, all of this talk, it's not making me want to see it. And so that's what makes me think that the fall off is going to be a lot bigger than Schnepp you're predicting. But right. I'm not. I don't know. I feel bad for the movie, but all this talk I'm hearing isn't making me want to go see it this weekend, even though I was planning on going to see it. And, that mustache, this is what happens with that mustache, that Shrek mustache. I'm just kidding, but I don't know. This isn't making me want to see it, honestly. I wonder if this is a cool way to segue out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's right. Let's coolly segue into the next story. Right?
All right, which is also DC related. Ashley, what do we have?
In a recent interview with Entertainment Weekly, DC Chief Creative Officer Geoff Johns, along with co-head of the DC films John Berg, spoke briefly about the studio's plans for Flashpoint starring Ezra Miller and whether it will include Batman or not. Without revealing too many details, Johns did confirm an appearance by the Dark Knight, at least a version of the character, saying, "There's elements in it that we're going to be playing into that we couldn't do anywhere else. The scale of it, the Batman story of it all." Schnepp, what do you think about Johns' comments about Batman, and which version will be in Flashpoint?
Well, a lot of people are pointing to Jeffrey Dean Morgan playing Batman because he played Thomas Wayne in BVS, but because when you see Justice League, there's not really a lot of continuity from Batman v Superman. In fact, there's a lot of non-continuity. Even though the characters are the same, the actors are the same, there's so many story points that don't add up when you add them up. Cyborg, a lot of things they're not even, it feels like they're not in the same universe to me. So I feel like if they are going to make a Flashpoint film, and if they are going to keep Ezra Miller as the Flash, and we are going to have certain things with him going through different multiple universes. We could see a different Batman. We could see a different person playing Batman's dad, and then we could see a different Batman come out of this entire thing. So I don't think it necessarily has to follow suit with any of the other previous DC Universe films, but I do think we're going to get a new Batman from that universe, and we're also going to get a new Batman from this universe, you know? So I think it'll be sort of like a Crisis on Infinite Earths. It'll be like a reboot, you know, game changer is what I would assume Flashpoint will be.
Yeah, I mean, for people who don't know, Flashpoint is kind of like an alternate universe storyline where you have Bruce Wayne dying instead of Thomas and Martha, and then Thomas Wayne becomes Batman instead. Right. Martha, I think, ends up being the Joker.
Like which I hate, which I think is goofy. But, you know, whatever.
Yeah, so Jeffrey Dean Morgan played Thomas Wayne in Batman v Superman. Could he be Batman, Negan himself? Or they get someone else. And also, this is, you know, this doesn't really answer the question of, is Ben Affleck coming back as Batman? Because since this is an alternate universe, it's a totally different character, they can cast whoever they want. They can bring Jeffrey Dean Morgan in, they can bring a different actor, make a younger version, and say, okay, well, this is just Thomas Wayne. So it's interesting. I mean, Geoff Johns is talking about, you know, The Flash after even all this Justice League stuff. So it seems like, at least for now, they're planning on moving forward. Aquaman's already done. It's in the can. They're going to, you know, release that. And The Flash, I think, you know, and Wonder Woman's a easy one because they made a good amount of money on that. Perri, what do you think?
I'm kind of into it. Right now, I'm taking everything they're saying with a grain of salt because, again, like we pointed out in the last story, we are only a weekend into Justice League's run. We've seen how many things change with every single movie they have planned. So until I get more concrete information, I'm not going to get too carried away. But I do like the idea of the Flashpoint storyline, and that's without having read the source material myself and just knowing a very general amount of it. But it does seem like a good way to kind of do what I think they want to do, which is change things up and shake things up, but not in a way that feels like, oh, we're just going to erase all the things you didn't like and try to change course. I mean, this is a really interesting story, and I think it would serve the franchise well. And I don't want Ezra Miller going anywhere, but awesome. You know, with the Batman casting change, we've talked about it enough that even though I don't want to see Ben Affleck go anywhere, and I think it's a major shame that there's a chance that we might never hit the point where he gets his own standalone movie, because I really do think he did some great things in that role. One way or the other, we've talked about it so much that I'm open to it. So I think as long as they do this Flashpoint story, they do it in a really great way that turns out to be a great standalone movie that, yes, connects to a greater universe, but is a great movie in and of itself. Do whatever you guys want, but I'm going to wait until we get a little more concrete information as well.
Flash was one of the highlights for Justice League for me. Schnepp, do you think that viewers that aren't familiar with the storyline are going to be confused if they see someone else in that Batman role?
No.
No?
I mean, we've had so many different Batmans. I mean, look, I mean, there's Christian Bale. Most of the people who watch our show are only familiar really with that Batman. And the older people are familiar more with, like, George Clooney, Val Kilmer, Michael Keaton, and even the older people are familiar with Adam West. And then you've got the voiceover people who've got Kevin Conroy. I mean, there's so many people who've played Batman. To me, you know, look, Ben Affleck got to be Batman 3 times. That's more than a lot of other people. That's more than Val Kilmer and George Clooney ever got to wear that cowl. He doesn't want to do it anymore. That's cool. I don't want him to do it. You know, it's like, you know, it's horrible to keep hearing like actors contemplating and getting on a Segway. It's like, well, get on the Segway and Segway away. That's how I feel about it. It's like, he's a great actor. He's a great director. I don't know why people keep giving him all this bullshit about like, just, I mean, he's been Batman. He was awesome. He's not going to get a standalone movie. He doesn't even want to do it. He didn't even want to do this movie. He's stuck in a contract, whatever. We don't know the behind the scenes stuff. Affleck, do another movie with Matt Damon. I don't care. You know, it's like, there's a million other people who could be Batman. People get all bunged up. I'm sick of it.
Well, I definitely wanted to see him in a solo movie, but I think he was.
I did too, but I'm just saying, you know.
But I think he was much more excited when he was writing and directing it and starring in it, and it was like his baby, and then all that stuff kind of got taken away, and then I think he wasn't interested in just being Batman.
I guess, but the thought of a Matt Reeves directed Batman movie starring Ben Affleck is just so wildly appealing to me, but I'm right there with you, especially with a role like Batman. And I know it's not all sunshine and rainbows for someone having a role like that. It comes with a whole lot of maybe unwanted and probably vicious attention. So I understand why he may be thinking what we think he's thinking right now, if that makes any sense. But going back to that other question that you just pitched, Schnepp, I feel like if Marvel can do it with Spider-Man when there was so little time between Tom Holland and Andrew Garfield, why can't we have the same thing happen with Batman? They've proved it time and time again that they could switch up the role and do something special and different with it. I think they can pull it off here.
All right, guys. Now we're moving on to buy or sell. Ashley, what do we got?
In a shocking report from THR, Disney animation head Jon Lasseter is taking a leave of absence from Pixar after acknowledging in a memo painful conversations and unspecified missteps. The memo by Lasseter came ahead of THR's own story about alleged incidents involving women and their workplace at Pixar. Late last night, however, Rashida Jones and her writing partner, Will McCormick, gave a statement to the New York Times denying the Hollywood Reporter's claim that she left Toy Story 4 over an unwanted advance from Lasseter, saying it was over creative differences and philosophical differences. Perri, after the shocking news, do you buy or sell Lasseter ever returning to his post at Disney/Pixar again?
I'm so glad you threw the fun story to me.
Had to get you first.
I mean, I don't even know if I could give a buy or sell to something like that. I do believe in second chances, but given the current climate in the industry right now and the kind of behavior we're talking about, no. You're talking about someone who had all the opportunity in the world, who was controlling one of the biggest animation studios, who got to work with so many people, and he just squandered that whole opportunity. He is now kind of blemished a brand that was so special and important to moviegoers everywhere. Think about how many thousands of people work on a Pixar movie. And I know the most important thing here is his behavior and the terrible things he allegedly did to certain people. But then I also just have been getting so many tweets about, oh, because of this news, do you think Coco's not going to do well? And I know in the grand scheme of things, maybe that's not as important as these poor people who were apparently victimized by him. But when you think about a movie like Coco and how many years of somebody's life went into a project like that, and because of his bad behavior, you're just going to ruin all their hard work. Everyone said, oh, it's never going to get an Oscar nomination. Grand scheme of things, again, an Academy Award is not as important as being a good, respectful person. But still, this is so unfair and disgusting on so many levels. And just to backtrack on this a little, we have seen a lot of these reports come out recently, and I just want to caution people, when some reports come out from maybe a news source before they come out from the people that were directly affected by it, I would be wary of those reports, and those are times where maybe you should take a step back and say, all right, I need concrete information before I point a finger at someone and decimate their career, because the original report did highlight Rashida Jones, and she has since come out and said those were not true. However, those reports also contain other bits about other people that he did this to. So really, I'm not going to get too carried away and go too far with it until we get more concrete information. But if he released that statement and he admits guilt to these types of things, it is ridiculous. I can't believe it still surprises me anymore, but it does. Every single time this comes out about someone that I admire and respect and someone that I've enjoyed their films, especially Jon Lasseter for so many years, it's so upsetting and heartbreaking that now when I think of Pixar, this is clouding the joy that these movies have brought to my life. It's just, I freaking hate this.
Schnepp.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's hard to echo everything Perri said. I remember just I was here and I just read the Hollywood Reporter, and it's a preemptive thing. It's not like a bunch of people came forward and said this person did something. He actually wrote this letter, admitted in a kind of a roundabout way to doing some misdeeds, or how did he like very powdery missteps, and then literally that came out, and then a couple of more things came out, like, hey, don't try to give me the Lasseter, which is literally like somebody putting their hand on your thigh or trying to put their hand up your skirt, which is gross, and anybody who does that is a gross person. So you have to have respect for each other. And unfortunately, I've lost a lot of respect for anybody who's been covering for this kind of behavior. So I think Disney and Pixar did the right thing to kind of force a move to make him take an early retirement. He's not coming back in 6 months. It's done. It's a wrap. What does this mean for Coco? Well, Coco didn't put its hand on anybody's leg, or up their thigh, or touch them in any way. Coco is an incredible movie, and I would hope that people this weekend go out and see that film for what it is, and what the people who wrote that film, what they did, and all the people who directed and made that film happen. Jon Lasseter is a very small part of Pixar. Granted, he's the guy who kind of shepherded it all the way through, did these giant moves, kind of helped reform Disney's animation team. So the things that he's done as a producer are incredible. The things that he's done as a person are now, getting examined, and maybe they're not all that great. So, I'm not going to condemn the man entirely. All I can say is, look, if he's been taking advantage of his position and doing things and putting people in certain compromising situations, he's got to go. So it's a horrible thing.
Yeah, I'm with you, Schnepp. I sell the fact that he's coming back. This 6 month sabbatical is just I think trying to save face, to say, okay, yeah, I'm doing this to myself, whatever. But I mean, for the brand, I mean, this is Disney. This isn't, of all the brands for this to happen to, for someone to behave in this way and tarnish what Disney is supposed to represent, I think it's terrible. I also do hope that it doesn't affect something like Coco, which Perri is right. It's thousands and thousands of people worked on that movie. It's not just one person's thing. And I don't think it will, just in the sense of, I don't know how much of the mainstream audience is, familiar with that. I think, parents will still probably be taking their kids to see Coco.
Well, his name is branded with Pixar.
Yeah, it is.
He is Pixar for many people. It's like he's the one who got that short into becoming a full feature film, Toy Story. So it's a real difficult thing to have it's an iconic person. It's like if you heard George Lucas did something, it's someone who represents everything, even though Star Wars, all these other things. Yes. If you heard that, it would hurt you in the same way that you see all these Pixar movies and you instantly think there's no other person who's branded. When I think about Pixar, I can name a bunch of different directors, but the face and the name that I see when I think of Pixar is Jon Lasseter. So the damage that he has done to his own company is irreparable.
Ashley, what did you think when you heard about this?
Yeah, no, oh my gosh, I agree with everything you guys were saying. Yesterday, I was on Twitter and I saw Jon Lasseter's name trending, and I clicked it thinking, oh, what's going on at Pixar? I'm so excited, can't wait to hear some news. My jaw literally dropped when I saw this story, because when I think of the name Jon Lasseter, I think of all these happy things and these movies that I love. So this is honestly so disgusting to me, and him releasing this statement, whether they are just allegations or not, in a sense, this is you covering your butt, releasing a statement saying, oh, Missteps, I'm sorry if I hugged you in a weird way. So even if things didn't happen to Rashida Jones, I feel like there are other stories underlying beneath. They are just allegations, I guess, but you releasing a statement like that doesn't look good. But I think that Disney and Pixar are enough of a powerhouse that you can continue on without Jon Lasseter. And yeah.
Can I just say this weird hugging thing? Sorry if I hugged you. How do you hug someone wrong? Extreme hugging. What is that? What is that, gripping onto something? How do you do that? What is wrong with people? I'm just freaked out when I hear about Charlie Rose, kind of was walking around naked, what's going on? What's wrong with people? What is wrong with people? Extreme hugging. This has got to stop. It's crazy.
And with that, let's move on to the next story.
THR reports that a sequel to Murder on the Orient Express, entitled Death on the Nile, has entered development over at Fox, with Orient Express's Michael Green returning to pen the script. The movie will again be based on the Agatha Christie novel of the same name, in which Hercule Poirot, played by Kenneth Branagh in Orient Express, is on vacation in Egypt and becomes involved in a love triangle gone murderously bad. While there is no deal in place, Kenneth Branagh is expected to return as director and to reprise his role as Poirot. Dennis, buy or sell a sequel to Murder on the Orient Express with Death on the Nile?
Big buy from me. I quite enjoyed Murder on the Orient Express. It's not going to be in my top 10 movies or anything like that, but I love mystery movies. I watched the original film. I watched this one. And with Death on the Nile, that also had a star-studded cast. They had Mia Farrow, Maggie Smith, Angela Lansbury, David Niven, like a whole bunch of, just like this one did. So I hope they can do the same thing and get a big star starring in this film, and I hope it becomes a franchise, just personally for me, because I liked it so much. Perri?
I can't say I loved the movie, but I definitely liked it enough to want to see another movie, specifically to see Kenneth Branagh in this role, because you could tell while you're watching the movie that he loves this character. He loves playing this character. He loves building a world around this character. So the fact that all of that comes through so well, yeah, it makes me want to see more of him in the role, even though this wasn't my favorite movie of the year or anywhere close to that. And I know some folks were thinking that it didn't earn enough money at the domestic box office, but you know, it's got about $150 million in the box office worldwide at this point in its run. The movie only cost $55 million to make. Obviously, that doesn't account for marketing and things like that, but the production budget is not as high as you might have thought. So it sounds like this might be a worthy investment to keep this franchise going.
Well, what train are they going to be on? It's not going to be the Orient Express. It's going to be a different train. Murder on the Bullet Train.
No, it's, Death on the Nile. They dropped an Easter egg at the end of the movie that led people to believe
they're just going to keep remaking these other movies because there's a Death on the Nile movie too.
Yeah.
Well,
so
I haven't seen Murder on the Orient Express. I was waiting for the special edition where they digitally remove Kenneth Branagh's mustache, and then I'll see Murder on the Orient Express.
Well, maybe him and Kurt Russell are competing for.
Kurt Russell wins.
All right, what's next?
Deadline is reporting that X-Men Apocalypse's Alexandra Shipp is in final negotiations to join Samuel L. Jackson, Richard Roundtree, and Jesse T. Usher in the new Shaft reboot from director Tim Story. The new movie sees Jesse T. Usher's Shaft Jr. character working for the FBI and estranged from his father. He then reluctantly enlists his father's help to find out who killed his best friend Kareem, while also bringing down a drug trafficking/money laundering operation in NYC. A release date has not been announced at this time. Schnepp, buy or sell and Alexandra Shipp in the Shaft reboot.
Totally buy this. I love Alexandra Shipp. I think she's a great actress. She was great as Storm. It was a good intro to this new character. I want to see her as Dark Phoenix. And then she teamed up with Negasonic Teenage Warhead to do some kind of crazy, like, murdering, cheerleader film, which I haven't seen yet. But, yeah, I buy that. I love Son of Shaft. I want to see this film really bad. Tim Story, like, stay away from Fantastic Four. This is exactly the kind of film that I loved what he did with Barbershop. So this feels like he's returning to something that he's going to do really good. You know, it's like, have fun with Shaft, have fun with Samuel L. Jackson.
I'm on the fence about this, but I'm going to sell it for now. Not so much because of her. I did like her in X-Men Apocalypse. I think she had a brief role in Straight Outta Compton. But just, I saw the original Shaft. I saw the one Sam Jackson did, I think, in 2000. And I don't know. I'm not clamoring for another one. And also, this is one of those, it's supposed to pass the torch type of things, which has not gone well, as we've seen in another movie that Jesse T. Usher was in, which was Independence Day Resurgence.
You're not supposed to say it, especially on my birthday. Come on.
I saw it on my birthday, and it was a horrible experience.
But Tim Story does comedy, though. The first Shaft was done by Ernest Dickerson, I think, which was a lot more serious. That's why I'm saying, like, if it goes in the realm of comedy, I think that's why, like, Tim Story, it sounds really good, so the cast sounds good.
Yeah, but he did Ride Along and Ride Along 2. Ride Along, the first one. The first one was all right. The second was not good. So I'm just a little wary of this. Perri?
Shaft is just so far off my radar. I was not aware this was happening. I've only seen the Sam Jackson movie once. I've never seen the original, but yeah, I couldn't really care any less about another Shaft movie, but I'm going to buy it because I'm excited about Alexandra Shipp's career kind of coming together. That movie is called Tragedy Girls. I haven't seen it, but I have only heard the best things about that movie, and it's one of those things where I miss my screenings and I miss the theatrical release, and I wish so badly that it was available on VOD, but it's only available on pre-order right now on iTunes. But the second that I can get my hands on that movie, I'm gonna watch it. And I liked her as Storm. I don't really think she had enough screen time to make that role as impactful and memorable as it could have been. But I think she did a lot with what she had, and I'm hoping for good things for her.
All right, guys, before we move on to mailbag, I remind you we're going to take your live Twitter questions at the end of the show. You can tweet us at Collider Video, and Ashley will pick out a few. Also want to remind you, I mentioned at the top of the show, for Thanksgiving, we will not have a movie talk tomorrow or Friday, but there are plenty of other videos that will be going up. We also dropped another new Top 50 superhero. We've been doing, what number are we on now? 35, 34? I can't.
We just ran number 36.
36.
The Dark Knight Rises.
So those will still be coming out on Thursday and Friday. I want to mention we had a cool new documentary that came out yesterday about Superman's mustache. Just check it out. We also have brand new heroes that Schnepp you'll be shooting later today.
Yeah,
going up.
Go up this afternoon, so check it out.
Yeah. Also remind you, if you guys have already binged The Punisher, or you plan on binging it this coming Thanksgiving weekend, we have reviews for every single episode. We have a non-spoilers review for it as well. I highly recommend watching Punisher.
So you finished the series?
Yeah, I'm done. How far are you?
I'm on episode 6, and I think it's amazing.
Yeah, it's fantastic. So you guys can check that out. We also have a Schmodown that came out yesterday, an Inner Geekdom match between Jason Inman and Emma Fyffe, and a brand new Awesome Tackler on Friday. All right, Ashley, what's the mailbag question for today?
Tomas, right? So what is the reason for Ghibli movies not being as well known as Disney's? It definitely cannot be quality, so maybe it's just because people don't like reading subtitles, but then most of Blu-ray releases have English dubbing options. It's a shame. They have some powerful messages for both young and adults, great characters, beautiful animation, and just amazing soundtracks. Thanks for all your great work watching daily. Greetings from Poland.
Yeah, I picked this question just because I actually hadn't watched that many Studio Ghibli movies before a few weeks ago, and I kind of just went on I watched Grave of the Fireflies, Spirited Away, Totoro, Kiki's Delivery Service,
nice.
Howl's
Moving Castle.
I haven't watched that yet.
Princess
that's on my
Mononoke.
list. That's all on my list.
Oh,
I watched Spirited Away.
Okay.
So
you're like starting early. You're
yeah.
Nice.
I'm trying to get through it. I think some of the reasons he mentioned it being in a different language, people not wanting to read subtitles. Also, you have to remember, at least now, 2D animation is not that popular. I mean, everyone's watching 3D stuff. So I think these are wonderful films. I think people should go out and watch them. And Disney has made an effort to hire, big name actors to do the voices for some of these films. And so there's definitely an effort being put forth. I just don't know if it reaches, all of, especially with the 3D thing. Schnepp?
What are your thoughts? No, are you watching it with the English dubbing? Or
I watch Japanese voices with English subtitles.
That is the only way to watch any of Ghibli's stuff, any of Miyazaki's cartoons, because unfortunately the translation, even though you have amazing actors, and I get it, some people don't like subtitles. Well, just get over it. I mean, just do the subtitles, because what you're hearing is the original inflection of the original language, and that is the most important part. What you're hearing when you hear an English dubbed version is the retranslation from another person, usually not even getting the direction from the original director. So it's really, I feel it's really important to, if you love animation and you love animated films, you need to see, especially Miyazaki's films, you need to see them in their original form with English subtitles. Do yourself a favor. If you can't handle that, definitely check out some of the more recent ones like Princess Mononoke or Howl's Moving Castle, which have these incredible big name actors who do a great job at the audio translation. So, I mean, yeah, Miyazaki is fantastic. I know there's a lot of Totoro fans out there. I recently just got a chance to see Spirited Away on the big screen again. It's such a fantastic film. All of his films are amazing. Pretty much, I mean, out of all of them, maybe one or two are a little, Ponyo or whatever that one.
I like Ponyo.
I know, but I'm just saying,
it's a Little Mermaid retelling.
I know, but I'm saying, and that's good.
Yeah,
it's not like, oh, it's horrible. Yeah. It's like, I mean, he has like incredible movies and then ones that are just good.
I mean, one that I love that's not even Miyazaki is Grave of the Fireflies. It's just that it's a super sad story. I can't believe kids watch that movie. It's so sad. Perri, what do you think?
I know some people might roll their eyes at the subtitle thing, but that is a real thing, because there's many people in my life that I have said, oh, you should see this foreign film. And they're like, subtitles? No, I don't want to put that kind of work into it. And it makes me super sad. But the other thing with these kinds of movies is the fact that they don't get wide releases. You know, we have Coco coming out this week, and I'm sure it's in well over 3,000 theaters. And you look at some of their releases, Ponyo opened in 900, or at least Ponyo's widest release was 927 theaters. Spirited Away was 714 theaters. And those are some of the wider releases. A lot of them came in under 100 theaters. So that's part of the reason, too, why United States moviegoers are not talking about them as much, because we're just not exposed to them as much, which is a little unfortunate. But hopefully with the rise of streaming media and just the ease at which you can get your hands on just about anything now, that will change. But I think that those two reasons right there are probably the biggest ones.
Yeah, the one thing that you mentioned, streaming, also some of it is self-inflicted, because it's actually a lot harder to find Studio Ghibli films on streaming. They're not on any services whatsoever. You can only rent some of them, the more popular ones, on like an iTunes or a Xbox Movies or something like that. And some of them are very hard to find. You have to either order the Blu-ray. It's just one of those things where, and I think I read that it's something they purposely do. They don't really care for streaming services.
I just went to search for Ponyo, and all I see is My Little Pony.
Oh, well, I mean, do yourself a favor and see the subtitled version. I mean, also, I find that when you're watching a foreign film with subtitles, you actually get sucked more into the movie because it's demanding your attention. So you become more, you just get into that world. So do yourself a favor and see one of any one of Miyazaki's movies. Yeah.
All right, guys, that's it for Mailbag. Now into your live Twitter questions. You can tweet us at Collider Video. Ashley, what do you got?
Michael Carey writes, "Hey Collider crew, with Henry Cavill only contracted to appear as Superman one more time, what do you think DC will use him for?"
I think a standalone Man of Steel movie that I think we should have gotten instead of Batman v Superman. Like, I think it should have taken place a long time ago just to help build the character more.
I honestly feel they should re-sign Henry Cavill for another 3 movies and just do a Superman 2 and 3. Just do that, as opposed to do one more Superman movie with him in this DC universe. Either don't do that, have him in Flashpoint, or have him appear in Wonder Woman. I feel like it's not using the character properly. Like, I think you're right. He's been shortchanged in all of his movies as Superman so far. I'd like to see him get a chance to do Superman right. But then are we going to be in that same predicament where he's only doing Superman one more time, and then we're going to see a Superman movie? I'll take it back. I would like to see him do a Superman movie, like, just to get that chance to do one. I mean, because I think he deserves it. He's a great Superman. So yes, please, Henry, do a Superman movie.
Yeah, that's what I want as well. And it seems like the most likely option, because really, I mean, where else would they put him? And wouldn't it be a shame for them to waste that last opportunity, or at least that last opportunity for now, with a small cameo role?
And,
so I hope they don't
there's
do
not going to
that.
be a Justice League for a while.
Right.
I mean, in order for a Justice League 2 to happen, they need to make sure that all the solo films are all firing on all cylinders, and then maybe Justice League 2, and that's if all these solo films do very well. All right, what's next?
Nolan Dean writes, "Do you think it would be smarter for DC to move away from team-up/ensembles and more focus on solo movies?"
Yes.
Well, I mean,
Yes.
currently over the next 3 years, yes. I mean, because we have Aquaman is coming out next year. The following year is Shazam and Wonder Woman. So we pretty much have that over the next 2 years. The third year is probably going to be, Flashpoint, if they're going to do that. Yeah. Hopefully we'll get that Batman standalone. Hopefully we'll get that Superman standalone. If they announce it this year, they're doing Batman and Superman for 2019 or 2020, that makes the most sense to me. I mean, and then once you actually do those films right, establish those characters, team them back up again in, Justice League Return or Justice League International, or just, you don't even have to call it Justice League 2. It could just be, hey, here's the Justice League of America, Justice League United, pick one.
Yeah, I really want them to just focus on single characters right now. And I am a firm believer that would have changed how things panned out for Justice League had they done that before. Because really, I mean, you kind of brought up the point before, you can use the whole Batman v Superman thing one time, and then that appeal, it's still appealing, but it's a little less than before. Had they built up Cyborg and Flash, as well as they built up Wonder Woman, people would have been foaming at the mouth to see all these great characters come together. And I do think, again, they introduced great things for Cyborg and Flash and Aquaman too that I do want to see more of. So I hope that they give those characters some room to breathe and give them a little more depth in their own solo movies now.
All right, what's next?
Jonathan Caro writes, since it will be Thanksgiving tomorrow, what is your favorite Thanksgiving food and the best first holiday movie to kick off the season?
Best movie to kick off
I would say the original Miracle on 34th Street, you know, because it's how can you go wrong with, you don't believe in Santa Claus? What's wrong with you?
I don't
John
know.
Payne, what's up?
My family's weird. Every time we all get together for any holiday at any time of the year, we tend to watch a horror movie. So that's probably how things are going to start off for my holiday season. But my favorite Thanksgiving food, easy. It's freaking mashed potatoes.
We had a little
know.
collider lunch, Thanksgiving Day
Yeah.
lunch. We
And
had
it was
turkey
great.
and gravy, mashed potatoes and everything.
I agree. Mashed potatoes and stuffing. That's my jam right there.
All right, what's next?
Anne Marie writes, thoughts on Titanic making a week run in December in select theaters. Will it add anything significant to its box office total?
I didn't realize they were
I didn't know that
they're
either.
releasing it.
What is it, an ultra 8K 3D or what? Didn't know they were putting it back out.
Titanic.
I mean, one way or the other, it's not making a significant
No.
amount of money to add to its already enormous box
Yeah,
office.
I say
haul.
$2 million. Yeah.
I don't think it's going to add very much. I think James Cameron just likes to add little things to it, and people. He does it. He did that with Avatar. Avatar came out maybe a year, less than a year, maybe 8 months after the original run, and then it had like additional scenes and whatnot. So I feel like this is one of those things. All right, what's next?
Alexis Lopez writes, what do you recommend seeing this weekend, Justice League or Coco?
I mean, I still need to see Coco, but I've heard nothing but great things about it. So I will be seeing Coco. I've seen Justice League. I enjoyed it. I don't know if I need to see it again right now. So I'm going with Coco.
If you haven't seen Just League, go see Just League and Coco. See Coco. I mean, Coco is so great and so heartwarming and such a beautiful film, especially if you're going to be with your family. Go see Coco and then go see Just League by yourself and then take the family back the next day and see Justice League. What's up?
I think if you want to see Justice League, it's a worthy pick for this weekend. But Coco is an exceptional film. It's an exceptional animated film. It's a beautiful story. It is so touching and moving, and I am just fascinated by that world that they built. I love the characters. I love the music. The music is great, and the visuals in that movie are insane, because I was thinking back to Inside Out, because when that movie first came out, I got to do I know you did one of these, a trip to Pixar.
Yeah.
And they tell you about how they made the movie, and I very vividly remember some of the new animation technology that they used for that, like Joy, you know how she had that effervescence, like that glow around her,
Crazy.
and you could just see in Coco how they took that one thing that they started in Inside Out and how they made it so much more in this. Clearly, I love Coco. Go see it.
So you guys, what was the consensus here? Because I'm going to go through this weekend, so I want to
said
know.
Coco, but I mean, this is from someone who hasn't seen Coco yet. Just hearing good
Are you
things
going to be with
about
your
it.
family?
Yeah.
Go see Coco.
Yeah, Coco.
You're going to cry. You're like, all you're going to be crying, but in a happy way.
You
I
do
love
need to
crying.
bring tissues.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's going to mess you up.
Coco it is.
It's a good cry, though.
All right, let's do two more.
Two more. Okay. Jai Patel writes, question, what is the difference between studios, distributors, and production companies?
Studios, distributors. I mean, studios are what funds the movies. Production companies are the ones that actually make it, and distributors are the ones who distribute.
Yeah,
the
they
film.
release it worldwide.
Yeah.
Studios sometimes have their own,
production,
production
yes.
arms and distribution
yes.
arms. So
Right.
maybe studios can do everything themselves, depending on which one we're talking about. But yeah, good breakdown.
And you'll always see, like, Alcon paid for Blade Runner, but Warner Brothers released it. So there's like different studios will be like, we'll release it, Europe, worldwide, but not in America. So you'll see different companies trading out the distribution strategy. So that's, everybody does a little bit of everything.
And then when you see like smaller films, right, that production company makes, they sell it the rights to a studio to distribute. So, all right, last one.
Justin Square writes, what year won for comic book movies, 2016 or 2017?
Let's see, what was 2016? I have such a bad memory.
We have to go back in time in
off.
2016.
Comic book movies.
I think I lean towards this year.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, okay, 2016 had
Deadpool.
Deadpool, Suicide Squad, Captain America: Civil War, XMen Apocalypse.
Deadpool and Civil War are the ones that are getting me.
Deadpool and Civil War were incredible. This year we had Thor Ragnarok, which was incredible. Guardians of the Galaxy 2. Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Logan. Wonder
Woman. So this year for me.
Yeah, I
2017.
think I'm going with this year as well.
I'll go with this year just because Logan is one of my favorites, even though last year was great too.
Also, think about some of the conversations we're having about some of this year's releases. I mean, I don't think Wonder Woman's going to get any Oscar nominations, but it is being talked about a little bit, and the same with Logan, too. And just look at how much money some of these things have made. It's like Thor Ragnarok comes out, and it just blows all those expectations out of the water.
Yeah, I couldn't even imagine that Logan, an R-rated Wolverine movie that's not even titled Wolverine, would make that much amount of money.
And think about what Wonder Woman is doing right now for this industry and for the rise of female filmmakers finally getting gender equality. I mean, look at Patty Jenkins right now. She earned the right to be on that same level as, like, her male counterparts in terms of her payday for Wonder Woman 2. That's just, whether we're talking about quality or really how they're going to affect the industry and superhero movies going forward, I think this year was pretty groundbreaking.
Yeah. All right, guys, that's it for today's episode. I want to thank you guys for joining us. I also thank the people at our table. Perri, where can people find you?
You guys can catch me on Twitter and Instagram at Perri Nemiroff. Thank you guys so much for watching this and everything we do. I am thankful for you. I hope you all have a great Thanksgiving.
Schnepp?
You guys can find me later today on Heroes and just on Instagram and Twitter, just at Jon Schnepp. And my Kickstarter, just type in my name, Schnepp, and check out 5.
Ashley, where can people find you?
You guys can find me in a food coma on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Ashley Mova. Happy Wednesday, guys.
Thanks to Adam and Copster in the back over there.
Yeah.
You guys can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero, Instagram, Dennis.tzng. Hope you guys have a great Thanksgiving Day weekend, and we'll see you guys back here on Monday for Movie Talk. But we still have mailbags, we have Heroes, we have Jedi Council, Top 50. We still have a bunch of stuff coming out, and another happy birthday to Perri over here.
Happy birthday to Perri. Happy birthday to Perri.
Hey everybody, Mark Ellis here. Thanks for watching this episode of Collider Movie Talk. You want to watch more? Then click up here, or you can click right here for more great content from Collider. And if you haven't subscribed to Collider Video, do so right now and share this vid with your friends. Thanks for watching.